Welcome to Insight Builder channel, large language model automators, Python experts, and my dear friends. Getting started with Hugging Face NLP tasks. 11 NLP tasks that you can perform, and that too, it is open source. The task that we are going to look at these are the 11 tasks that we are going to look at. I'll be discussing the sentence similarity separately. If you download this presentation and if you click on any of these bullet points, you will be directed to the respective Hugging Face page. So you can click it and see. You can understand each of these tasks. And the point I wanted to make here is that each of the tasks will have its own associated models and its own associated tokenizers. So this is what it's getting explained here. When you are going to perform each of these tasks, there are two ways to do it. Either you can do it locally or you can do it from the Hugging Face server. When you are going to do it locally, you will be using Transformers pipeline class. When you are going to use the Hugging Face server, you will be using Hugging Face inference API library. Both of these things I'll be explaining to you how to do it. The most important difference is when you are doing it locally, you should have a good high performance machine. So when I say high performance, you should have at least minimum of a Intel i5 processor and 8 GB of RAM. That is actually more than sufficient for you, and also a good deal of space, because the models and the tokenizers will get downloaded to your local environment. Okay. In case of Hugging Face inference, you don't need to worry about it. Just from Raspberry Pi also, or your own smartphones also, you can write an inference API post request and you can get the feedback. You can get the prediction back. Finally, our final objective is to get the prediction. So we have to ingest the data and get the prediction. At the local model or Hugging Face Hub model, the process that is going to happen is going to be similar. Okay, so any model will need a tokenizer. The data will get tokenized before it gets ingested into the model. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details at this moment because I've discussed it earlier already. So if you guys are new to this particular langchain library, Hugging Face, natural language processing, etc., I would suggest that take a look at the YouTube channel. Take a look at my YouTube channel, where you can see the various videos that I've already posted, and you can also take a look at the playlist which discusses about langchain and artificial intelligence language models. So you can take a look at this playlist. So this will give you all the necessary information for your reference. With that said, I would like to also introduce you to the tasks page inside Hugging Face Hub. So inside the Hugging Face Hub, there are many modalities. So computer vision is a modality, natural language processing is a modality, audio, video, all are modalities. Inside each modality, there are various tasks. And inside each task, the same task can be done by many models. So this is something that I want you guys to understand very clearly, that there is not one single model that can perform a conversational task. There are so many models, and there are some models are really good, and some models are have certain challenges. You can take a look at the details by looking at the model page. So for an example, if I'm going to use Blender bot 400 million distill, so 400 million is the parameters, distill is the way it works. You can go to the respective model page and you can take a look at the model card. This is how you have to research about the models. Okay, I am just showing it to you guys ahead of time, because this is also one of the important activities that you will be doing in the future. I want to give you an overview of not just how to use the transformer pipeline or use the Hugging Face models blindly. So you need to understand what is going on, right? How will you do that? So by going into various steps, by checking out the Hugging Face Hub, checking out their the overall website. So do feel free to check out and understand them better. And okay, let us go to the presentation for a moment and let us continue with this discussion. So as I explained to you that you can do it locally or using the Hugging Face inference endpoint. But how are you going to do it? So I told that you can do it locally, but for all these things, there are Python classes and classes and object instances that you can instantiate and start working with it. So for local, you can use Transformers pipeline. For Hugging Face inference, you can use their inference API endpoints, and also in langchain, obviously. So this parrot is not there for just for design. Okay, so langchain also has an LLM which works on the text generation or text to text generation task. Only those two are right now supported in langchain. So we will be seeing how to use that also. I just want to give you a heads up that at the end of the day, the reason why I'm discussing about Hugging Face is not just about Hugging Face. It's an ecosystem, and all my earlier videos were geared towards langchain, geared towards large language models as a whole. So you will get an overview that like what is going on in this entire ecosystem. Okay, and how each of these libraries are connected. Like I discussed about unstructured library earlier. I am discussing now about Hugging Face, and in future I will be discussing about other kinds of transformers and sentence transformers libraries. All these libraries are making the life of the developers way more easier. You will see that in a couple of minutes when we go into the next step, where I show you the GitHub repo with the notebook. We'll be seeing how to do the implementation. So all we have seen right now is that we can do these tasks and the steps that is required for doing the task. Next, we'll be implementing it. So when you implement it, you will understand that it will look simple. Okay, you will see that in matter of 2-3 lines of code, you get the things done. But behind those 2-3 lines of code, there is a huge work done by lots of developers who are working in open source ecosystem. That is how it has been possible. So today, this particular video is possible because lots of thousands, even hundreds and thousands of people have worked behind the scene to make this possible. So I really thank them for sharing us this technology. Moving forward, when it comes to Transformers pipeline, it will download the entire model in the tokenizer, as I already explained, and some pipeline model will require higher spec. So that is the reason why I told at least have i5, but you don't need to have a GPU. So most of these tasks don't require a GPU until unless you are going to use a very big or very huge 20 billion or 30 billion parameters model, which is not what we are targeting right now. We are basically working on simple tasks that anybody would want to perform. So that is what my aim is in discussing, and we will be working with let us go to the browser where we go into the Colab environment. Before that, I hope that you like this video. Do leave a like and share it with others. Subscribe to my channel so that further discussion on langchain, large language models, Hugging FaceHub, all these topics will come directly to your YouTube dashboard. Let us go to the browser now. I had showed this particular notebook. This will also be shared with you. The link will be shared with you guys. Some of you had requested me to share the presentations. You can take a look at this particular folder where all the presentations that I have done till now will be also uploaded. So you can take a look at this. It's all in PDF files. You can use it. And second point, and the third point I wanted to highlight is that this particular repo is under MIT license. So it's open source. I don't have any. I actually urge you guys to work on this code by yourself, fork it and start working. We use the fork option and start working on your projects and share it with others. The point is that I got this code from someone else. It was not written by me directly. Even if I take one library, import it from Python pip install, then I am using open source code, right? And I feel that it is my responsibility that I should share the code. And also, what you might be thinking, Kamal, everything is there in this particular website. So what are you, adding the value? The point I am doing, the value that I am trying to add here is about, showing you guys that what is there and how to reach to it. So there are lots of things available out there. The most important point is to show how to reach to it and also how to test it, how to, work on these models in the easiest form available. So that is my major contribution that I feel that I'm giving. So I hope that you guys agree with me, and if you have any comments, do leave it in the comment section, and I'll be glad to look into and reply to that. With that said, let us go to the Colab notebook. I have discussed sufficiently about the Colab environment. We will be working on the 4 libraries: transformers, sentence transformers, hugging face hub, and langchain. So we still need sentence transformers library because we are going to pull in tokenizers. This hugging face hub API token, you can go to hugging face hub, click on get yourself a account there and go to the settings, and from there you can go to the settings, and from there you can get the access tokens for your site. So that should not be much of a problem. And also, before I go into the Colab notebook, I want to show you guys how to work with the model card. So each of these models, each of the tasks will have multiple models, and each of these models have their own model description, their own abstract, and who are using it, how they are using it. All the details you can get from the Hugging Face Hub pages. So take a look at that. And in fact, I had discussed about Hugging GPT, one of the models, not the model actually, one of the system that has been released by Microsoft. They have named it Jarvis. So that particular model, the OpenAI model that is used in that Hugging GPT, reads this model description, and that is how it selects the model. So this model description is very, very important. So I hope that you understand that reading this is very important. And this is called as a model card. So there will be more information in some models and less information in some models. Yeah, with that said, I have given you a brief overview of everything. Let us now push into the Colab notebook. You have to pull in the API key and place it here inside the double quotes and execute this, and then you can start working on it. You don't need to worry about getting it shared outside. Just don't commit it to the repo. So that is very important, because I have done that mistake a lot of time. So anyway, coming to the tasks and model. In this, before we go there, I want to go to the presentation. So in the presentation, I had given you the various tasks, but I have not mentioned the models that I'll be using, right? But let us go to the browser. In the browser, in the Colab notebook, I talk about the models also, each of these tasks and their respective models. I will not be discussing about sentence transformer because it's a separate library altogether. I'll be discussing it separately. I'll be working on the remaining 10 models in this. It will be pretty fast, guys. We'll be seeing that. Initially, I'll be starting with transformers pipeline. So pipeline is a class that gets imported from transformers library, and also conversation is also a class getting imported from there. You see, when I use the pipeline, all you need to do is start with the task. You need to mention the task and you need to mention the model, nothing else, and the model will get instantiated. So this is how simple it is. But once you instantiate it, it will actually start downloading the entire model. So it will download the tokenizer, and it will also download the actual model that is going to do the prediction. Ensure that, okay, why I am telling this. So if you click on this, you will see my RAM here. So this is a 13 GB RAM virtual environment that has been provided by Colab, and you see it started at somewhere around 3 GB. And as I started pulling all the models, all the tasks, the 10 tasks that I'm working, I'm pulling all the models into this particular system, and it reached almost 11 GB of RAM. So when you are working this entire notebook in your environment, the system might crash if you're having a lower GB of RAM. So if you're having 8 GB and if you're going to load all the models, then after 8 GB your system will crash. So what I would suggest is that each of these tasks, do it separately. So restart the runtime every time. So go to the restart runtime, and you can restart the runtime in your Jupyter notebook also. So I'm not going to explain to you how to do that. I hope that you know, but if not, then you can do a little Google search and you will find it out. Ensure that your RAM is not overloaded. If it is overloaded, then the memory will it will go beyond the memory, and your Jupyter notebook will crash in your local environment. So conversational, and also in this case, I'm not actually explaining to you guys what each of the models are doing. I'm just showing you that this particular model, this particular task is getting executed in this way. So I am not actually going and explaining what are the theory behind it. So I really don't want to spend time on the theory, because you guys can come up to speed rapidly with the theories part. The challenge I faced, so after reading the theory, what happens is that you need to see it in action. So for that, you will need a notebook, right? So this notebook can be a very good candidate for that. That is the the whole intention of it. So I hope that you guys will like this way of presentation. And first and foremost, the topic I start a conversational model and I say I have to pass the conversation object only. I cannot pass a regular text. So regular text, if I try to pass into the conversation pipeline, it will error out. So I need to convert it into conversation object, and then I need to pass it. And I am saying, okay, I'm going to go to Mars. Any suggestions? And it actually replies that, yeah, I would also love to go to Mars, and I think it would be cool to see other planets. So you see this kinds of reply coming from the conversational model, and you saw the entire pipeline got downloaded. So this is the transformers pipeline process. Okay, next we are going to use the Hugging Face API inference. So for API inference, we need both requests and JSON library, because we are going to work with the internet, right? We are going to work with API endpoints. So the inference endpoint is, this is the inference endpoint, and the model name should be provided here. So where is the model name? The model name I have shared it here, right? So, or sometimes you have to provide the complete repo name also. These things you can actually check it out, and I am going to work on the fill mask task here. And yeah, this is the API token that I was talking to you about. Don't worry about this particular API token. I will be changing it in a moment before the video hits the public. So don't worry about that. I just want to show you how the API token looks. So this is the API token I am using, and this particular API token has to go into the headers when you are sending the payload. As I told you that the Hugging Face system, the library itself, they provide a very neat, simple function which you can use to query, which can actually create a payload for you and post it to the Hugging Face inference. So you can use that, and you can get the data. So here I am, sending a query that Amsterdam is a mask. Okay, in this particular model, it's called as fill mask. So this particular model is called as a fill mask. So in the sentences that you are making, so there should be a particular word or particular token that you are masking, meaning that you want the model to predict what that particular word might be. So this is how you need to make it. And the models that you are going to use for fill mask will have different types of masks. So that's the reason why I shared you guys how to go and look at the Hugging Face inference Hugging Face tasks and model cards. So model card will explain how to use these things. Okay. So this is the data that is coming out. So it is saying municipality and city, suburb, museum, town. So all these are options, but museum, you see the score is very low. In case of municipality and city, it is quite high. The actual answer should be, it's a capital city, right? But yeah, the capital city answer has not come. That is for the fill mask. Now we are going into text generation. For text generation, we can use langchains, LLM chain, and Hugging Face Hub class. So this Hugging Face Hub class comes from langchain library. I'm going to import it, and I can create the LLM inside langchain by using Hugging Face Hub object. I can make it as a Hugging Face object, and I need to just give the repo ID. If in case you give a different repo ID, for an example, instead of GPT-2, if you give a Facebook, if you give the Facebook Blender bot, it will fail. So this model will fail when you are going to when you are going to try using the langchain Hugging Face Hub LLM. It will not work. It will work only for text generation and text to text generation. So I am creating this LLM, and I am asking, where are you now? And I get really funny answer, because see, at the end of the day, GPT-2 model is one of the very old model, and GPT 3.5 or 4 is extremely sophisticated. Okay, but GPT-2 model can run directly on local machines, and it has very less number of parameters. So we cannot compare these two models. What I am trying to show you here is that how to use the tasks, so, and also how to use various libraries here. So I hope that you understand what is going on here. In the future, when langchain library opens up for other tasks, we can also use this particular option. So this is something that you need to be aware of. Next is about question answering. So question answering also will not work with langchain. So what we are going to do is we are going to use pipeline. So question answering, you have to ask a question, and also you need to give a context. So I'm giving a context that my name is Martian Martin and I live in Mojave Desert. And if I ask a question back, then it will actually revert me with the answer. So it will say the answer is Mojave Desert, and it will also say where it got the answer from, and it will give the score also. So all these things are possible with question answering. Next comes summarization, and for summarization we'll be using distill BART, and this is the pipeline that we'll be pulling, and I can give a complete paragraph, and I can ask the summarization pipe to execute, and you see the summary text. So this particular entire paragraph that I'm providing here will get this is already a summary, so this is actually pretty long also, and that gets summarized here. So you can try it out. And the third is table Q&A. This is important. Okay, why this is important is because you can create pandas data frame. So if you are not aware of pandas data frame, I will attach a link for the video that I made regarding pandas, Python pandas library. Here I am just creating a simple data frame, and I am asking question based on the data frame. I am saying, okay, here are the various actors and their number of movies, and I am asking how many movies does Leonardo DiCaprio have, and out comes the answer. So I create the pipeline and I give the question to it. So I give the table as well as the question. So I give the data also. I don't, there should be data somewhere, right? And I give the query, and the reply comes like this. So first of all, it tries to search for the answer, and it finds the answer. It finds the cell where the answer is. It is 53, right? And once you get the cell 53, so if you go up here, we see that it is Leonardo DiCaprio, right? We have to actually change it. So we cannot directly use this cell output when you're getting the answer. See, it is telling you when I am actually asking how many movies does Leonardo DiCaprio have, it is telling the answer as 53. So that is the output, but the output comes in a dictionary format. So we have to do a parsing of this output. So this is something that you guys have to understand. That's why I'm showing it to you. So when you see a fully formed application, right, you may not be able to see all these kinds of nitty-gritty details that is going on. So all these are the activities that the developers do. And knowing how the data structure is outputted or returned is also one of the important task that you should know. Next is text classification. In case of text classification, what happens is that the model replies with 3 different options. So it says it replies either it is entailment, it says the reply with contraction, and finally neutral. So all these 3 different things, I don't know why they have named it. They can say true, false, and neutral, but yeah, based on the various research and papers submitted, that is how they have decided to name it. So I say Tintin comics are best written by Hirsch, and I get a neutral. Actually, I should have got entailment, but yeah, that is the model reply that is coming out. So that is about the text classification. And coming to the NER. NER is entity recognition, that is natural language entity recognition, and the pipeline that you are going to use is BERT based NER. And what I am going to do here is that I am going to give it a sentence, and it is going to give me that, okay, Omar is a person, Zurich is a location. So like this, it will give me the entities inside the text. So this is what NER classifier means. And then comes translation. So translation, we are going to use Helsinki NLP model, and we are going to call the translation pipeline using the model checkpoint. We have to install Sacre-Moses library for using this translation, and I ask to the translator, where are you living, and it translates okay to the particular language, and then that is how translation works, right? So you can explore these concepts step by step and understand how the translation pipeline works, and also how to work with different models. That is very important. So here it is English to French. Okay, we are not having any other language model here. So if you are going to change the model being used, then the output will change accordingly. Okay, so here it's not about the type of the language. So if you are thinking, okay, if I change the type of the language to German, I will get German output. No, it's not like that. You have to change the model that is getting used here. And then comes zero shot classification. So what is zero shot means is that you don't actually give any of the training data. You meaning you don't tell to the model ahead of time that I am going to work on set of labels. So for an example, the labels could be urgent, not urgent, phone, tablet, and computer. So these could be the labels, but we are telling it right at the moment where we are giving the question. So the model does not know what labels we are going to use. So that time it is called as zero shot classification. So I have a problem with my iPhone that needs to be resolved. So ASAP. This is the text I'm sending it, and the candidate label, I want to classify this text, and the candidate label I'm giving is urgent, not urgent, phone, tablet, computer. I'm going to do this, giving this label, and I get this output. So the most likely classification is 0.522 score, that is urgent, right? But if you give a different label, so if you say a completely different set of labels, then you will get a very different scores here. So understand that how the model works, and looking at these results and practicing with it. So let us go back to the presentation. So always I say, whenever I'm going to discuss the last page, I always tell that you have to practice a lot. And with all these tasks and various models that is coming into picture, you have a lot of things to practice right now. Also, I have told you the way to look at the model card. Take a look at those model cards also. And let us go back to the browser, and this particular activity, this particular task is the last task that I'm going to discuss. So after that, all the 10 tasks that we have already discussed here, I've already shared it to you guys here. So take a look at that. I hope that you guys like this particular video. Do practice, and do subscribe to my channel so that you will get further updates on, as I told, Hugging Face, langchain, large language models, artificial intelligence related topic to write to your YouTube dashboard. With this, guys, I would like to take a leave with 4 words as usual. Practice, 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 practice. See you then. Have a great time.